All right. Good morning, everybody. All right. Let's get right into it. Parshas Kitetse. It is a wonderful, amazing, incredible morning on the 10th of Elul, September 3rd. Let's jump in. Loisis Ayv Adoimi Ki Achichahu. You must not despise the Adoimi, because he is your brother. Loisis Atzev Mitzri Ki Gera Yisi Be'artzai. You must not despise the Egyptian, for you were you Gera Yisi Be'artzai. You were a ger in their land. Let's look at Rashi about the Edomite. Utterly, even though it would be fitting for you to despise him, since he went forth to greet you with the sword, still you don't. Totally, regarding the Egyptian. Mikol v'chol, afal pi kain, even though they threw your male children into the Nile. Why? Since they provide you with hospitality at a time of difficulty. Therefore, pasuk number 9, banim asher yivoldu lahem dar shlishi yavei lahem b'ka'al Hashem. Children who are born to them the third generation after their conversion may enter the assembly of Hashem by marrying Jews. Other nations, Rashi says, are permitted to marry immediately after conversion. From this, you learn that causing someone to sin is more harmful to him than killing him. For killing him kills him only in the world, but causing him to sin drives him out of this world and the world to come. That is why the Edomites, who greeted them with the sword, are not to be utterly despised, and similarly the Egyptians who drowned them. But we said about the Moabites, who tried to make the Jewish people sin, they can never join into the Jewish nation. Kiseitse machana aloivecha v'nishmarta mikol davara. When you go forth in a military camp against your enemies, you must be wary of any evil thing. What must be wary? Why? For the accusing angel prosecutes in a dangerous situation. It's part of the reason why we don't put ourselves into asakana. If there is somebody among you that is not tahar, mikra laila, because of a seminal discharge at night, he should go outside of the camp. He should not go into the camp. Mikra laila, the diber hakasav hoive, the pasuk talks in what's common to occur. Zu mitzvah say, this is a positive commandment regarding going outside the camp, and not to go. He must not enter the camp. Zu mitzvahs loisa say, this is a negative commandment, so to speak. He's forbidden to enter the camp of the Levites, and certainly not the camp where the Shechina is. V'haya lifnais erev yirchatz b'mayim. In the afternoon, he should immerse himself in water. V'keichai hashemesh v'uchvoy hashemesh. And when the sun sets, yavei el teicha machne, he can go back into the camp. V'yad tia lecha michutz lamachne v'yatzis hasham achutza. You have to have a place outside of the camp that you can go there. Michutz lamachne, Rashi says, chutz la'anon, outside the cloud. I guess outside of where the cloud of glory was. V'yased tia lecha al azenecha. You must keep a spike on your person in addition to your weapons. V'haya b'shivtecha, when you sit down. Chutz, outside. V'chafarta ba. V'shachavta v'chisa es tzesecha. You dig a hole and you cover basically every every soldier actually carried with him a shovel, specifically for this purpose, that when you have to do your business, afterwards, you need to cover it up. You have to dig a hole, do it like a cat. Key. In addition to your weapons, you must keep a shovel. You must keep a spike. That's what Rashi says. Means besides your other utensils, besides the other things you have, you need to have this item as well. Ki Hashem lekecha mishalech, because Hashem, your God, accompanies you. Bekerev machanecha, in your camp, la'atzilcha, to save you. V'lasei seivecha lefneicha, and to deliver your enemies before you. V'haya machanecha kadesh, and your camp must remain holy. And you should not have a not good thing, because of that, Hashem will turn away from you. So you can't have any of these types of things. You have to have an orderly, clean place. You cannot hand over an eved to his master. If he seeks refuge with you from his master. Okay, what are we talking about over here? What scenario are you not able to give an eved back to his master? Let's look at Rashi. Its meaning is as Onkelos translates it: Eved Amnin, a slave of Gentiles. So it's not a slave to a Jewish person, it's a slave to a non-Jewish person. Another explanation, it refers even to a Canaanite slave of an Israelite who fled from outside the land to the land of Israel. Okay, so we're not sure which case we're talking about where you're not going to return it to its owner. Imcha yeshev mikirbecha. He should live with you. B'makom asher yivchar, wherever you choose, ba'achad sharecha, in one of your cities, b'toiv loy, where it will be good for him, loy toinenu, you must not taunt him. Laisia kadesha mibnei Yisrael. There shouldn't be kadesh mibnei Yisrael. There shouldn't be a prostitute from the daughters or the sons of the children of Israel. All right, we can go to the next one. Loisavi esnan zoina umecher kelev beis Hashem alekecha. L'chol neder kisevas Hashem alekecha gam shneim. Sounds like two separate things. You cannot bring an article used to pay for a prostitute or an article that was used to pay for a dog to the house of Hashem. Your God has fulfillment of any sacrificial vow, because both of them are an abomination to Hashem, your God. Very interesting. Okay, what is it talking about over here? Let's look at Rashi. Esnan zoina, a prostitute's fee. If he gave her a lamb as her fee, it becomes unfit for offering up as a sacrifice, or a payment for a dog. He exchanged a sheep for a dog, and then that sheep you're not allowed to use. Okay. As both of them, to include their changed forms. If the payment was wheat, which was then made into flour. So because this was exchanged for that, it cannot be, it was payment for that, for that type of item or service, it cannot be used at the Beis HaMikdash. Loi sasich la'achiv neshach kesef neshach oichal neshach kol davar asher yisach. You should not pay interest to la'achicha, to your brother, not money, not on food, not on any other item. La nachri sasich, you are allowed to pay interest to a Gentile, but you're not allowed to pay to your brother. Laman yivarechecha Hashem alekecha, in order that Hashem will bless you, b'chol mishlach yadecha, in all of your things that you do, ala aretz, on this land that you are entering to inherit. So This is obviously the reason why, all the way till today, we don't do ribis. We don't take interest when we're dealing with our fellow Jews, but you can still, or pay interest. We don't take interest and we don't pay interest, but we are able to do that with a non-Jew, but in both directions. Kisidar neder la Hashem alekecha. When you do a vow to Hashem your God, loisa acher l'salmai, you cannot delay doing that vow. Because Hashem will demand it of you, and if this delay will be considered as a chet, as a sin. If you refrain from making vows, you will not have any sin. So be very wary of taking vows and not doing them. What comes out of your mouth, you should be very careful. And you must do what you make a neder, what you vow. Hashem your God, nadva asher dibarta beficha. Hashem your God, you must do as you said you were going to do. What is this? Moitzei svasecha tishmar. Rashi, this is stated to add an active commandment, a mitzvah say, to the passive commandment stated in the previous verse. So it's both a mitzvah say to do what you say you're going to do, and then mitzvah lo say, and a negative commandment if you don't do what you say you're going to do. So we have to be very careful when we make promises to Hashem. I guess promises to anybody, but especially to Hashem. All right, the Tanya for today. We're continuing in number 12. Hopefully, maybe we're going to get back to where we said we started explaining Isa Shalom B'mreimav, and explained that a unifying thing is a higher thing is able to unify two opposing things or seemingly opposing things, such as chesed and gvura, or water and fire. And then we also talked about how the act of tzedakah and the service of tzedakah, that was in yesterday's, I believe. And how what we didn't yet really get deep into that, but we do know that when is a time that we can channel this higher level of Hashem that unites opposing forces. We can channel that during tefillah, during davening, or other types of his boinanus times, other types of his boinanus, like contemplation. These are times when we're able to get a me'ain, we're able to get a part of what's going to happen when Mashiach comes, when the whole world will know Hashem, and therefore there will be no conflict, because that conflict will be nullified before Hashem. Let's get into today's Tanya as we continue on these topics. Mehine, Medai Zais, it's well known, that Jewish people are compassionate and do good deeds. Actually, a study came out over here in the United States. It's incredible to see how charitable Jewish people are. And like an extremely high percentage relative to how many Jews are in the United States. An extremely high percentage of Jewish people or of charity is given by Jewish people. Because our souls are from Hashem's attribute. Asher chesed gover behem. Al midas hadin, where chesed prevails over the attribute of din. V'agvura v'atzimtzum. Din is judgment. Gvura, tzimtzum, contraction. Those are all of the same elk. Kumeshikasav. Gover chastai al yureyav. Like it's written, chastai, his chesed is over his fear. Shalachain nikreis haneshama bas koyin. The soul is therefore called the daughter of a koyin. as it's written in the Zohar. And what do we know? Obviously, a Kohen is chesed, compassion. That's why when you have tsaras, who do you go to? The Kohen, because he's going to judge and see it in a positive light. The charity that comes from this source, nikras b'shem ma'aseh tzedakah. That is what it was referring to in the pasuk as the act of charity. Kishem ma'aseh, because the word act, nefela davar shekvar nasa, applies to that which is already done. Or tamid or something that's happening consistently. Actually, it translates it as spontaneously. But shenasa tamid mimela. V'hi davar ha'hoive v'rogel tamid. This is something existent, common and constant. Ma'aseh tzedakah is something that you do consistently. Va'af kan, here too, regarding this tzedakah that comes from our soul's innate kindness, harimidas hachesed v'arachamim hatubia b'nafshe kol beis Yisrael mikvar. This comes from a natural midah, a natural attribute of chesed and rachmanis that is in that's in the nature of every person of the house of Israel. Me'es riyasan, from the time that we were created. V'yishtalshalusan mimidois of Yisparach, and it went from hishtalshalus, from God. V'yipach biyapav, Hashem blew into our nostrils. V'ata nafachta bi, and he blew into me. Uman de nafach. When do you blow? You blow from your innermost things. Let's look at this note. So too in the analogy, since the soul emanates from the inner aspect of divine attributes, is it infused with them as well, so that the attribute of kindness dominates the soul even as it finds itself within the body. So too, Hashem renews creation every single day. And including it in that is this blowing in of the innards of Hashem, which is dominated by chesed. V'chadashim labkorim. They are new every morning. Let's look at this note. Maisa, the word maisa, which means action, thus refers to a constant process, such as the renewal of the soul with its characteristic traits of chesed and rachamim. The act of tzedakah hence refers to tzedakah which a Jew practices by virtue of these innate character traits. So what's a avodah tzedakah? Achloshen avodah. Now I'm really starting to see the full picture. Especially when you contrast it to avodah. What does avodah mean? Avodah means something you have to work for. Ma'aseh tzedakah is just something that comes more naturally. It's a ma'aseh, it's something you do. It's an act that's done, that's almost second nature. When you contrast it to avodah, achlashna avodah einay nefel ella al davar sha'adam oisa b'yegia atzuma neged teva nafshay. An avodah is something that you do that's contrary to your nature, but you put avodah to it. Rak shemevatel tivay u'ritzonim b'pnei ratzay elyon baruch hu. Rather, what does it mean when you do an avodah? That you forgo of your natural will out of deference because of the will of Hashem. Kigoyin liyagia atzma b'torah v'tefillah. As an example, like somebody who is delving into Torah and Tefillah ad mitzui nefesh, to the extent of pressing out the soul. This is not something that you naturally want to do. Something that you have to put an avodah to. Via gisa, you have to put effort into do it. The avkan b'mitzvah tzedakah litin harbe yoser miteva rachmanus u'ritzaynai. to give tzedakah in a way that's much greater than your rachmanis and your nature and your will. Noising titin, give you shall give, afilu mea pa'amim, even 100 times. So we're starting to get a little bit of a picture of the difference between ma'aseh tzedakah and avodas tzedakah. Ma'aseh tzedakah is that natural amount. You see this, you see it in your own life, where there's like a number where it's very easy, very normal to give, very comfortable. You want to do it, but then there's avodas tzedakah. That's where you're going above that capability to a place that's a little bit makes you uncomfortable. The Tehillim for today, chapters 55 to 59. The Hayom Yom for today. Great elders of the Alter Rebbe's Chassidim used to say that Yechidus means clear, designated, united. The sources of these three interpretations are in Shkalim 6.2, Yevamah 62a, and Bereshis Rabbah 20. This means that the idea of Yechidus is to clarify one's own status, to designate a mode of avodah for him in turning sur meira, in turning away from evil, and in the acquisition of fine character traits, hamidus tovos, and that he should bind himself in total oneness and utter dedicate himself with all his desires. This is the point of the Yechidus of a private audience with a Rebbe, is to designate, get yourself into a mode of avodah. All right, it was, Elliot, so David, we're ready for Sefer. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And let's hear the blow.